to Savage Says podcast. I'm Caitlin.
And I'm Kelly.
Welcome back. How are you doing, Kelly? For clump.
Pretty good, I guess. It has been a day. And I think it's been a day for both of us.
It really has. I think somebody's punking us.
Maybe. Or maybe it's just Thursday. I don't know. None of what went wrong today for me was like astronomically life-changing, especially when I put into perspective, like, Kim, people are dying.
Of course.
But, I had a few no good, very rotten, bad run-ins.
Mhm.
Starting out, it didn't start this way. Like, it was an okay day until I had to go pick up some important clothes from the tailors. And I drive like 20 minutes to this tailor's, or I used to. And they're very expensive, like very, very, very way too expensive.
Buckhead expensive.
Except like probably shouldn't be this expensive. And Buckhead can buck right off because like they think I like Buckhead, but like it's still Georgia. Let's not forget. So anyway, I brought a mink coat and
full otter.
Yeah, and a dress with feathers in there about
as one does
10 days ago. And they told me that they would be ready 10 days from then, November 28th, which was two days ago. Fast forward, I had my engagement party outfit that finally I thought we were ready to get, solidified, but I needed alterations done because I couldn't get the right size, blah, blah, blah. So I brought that there on Saturday. And the first visit with the coat, they told me, they gave me an estimate on the price, but they said if it would be different, once someone looked at it, they would call me and let me know and ask me if I wanted to proceed. So they never called me, and I thought everything was good. And then I was in there literally 5 days later, and I asked them, I said, hey, I didn't get a phone call from you about anything with the coat, so I just want to make sure everything's okay and we're good for next week. And they told me yes. So here I was on my merry way. Anyway, fast forward 5 days to today, and I go in there at 5:30, and none of it's done. None of it. They didn't even start any of it. And my stuff has been there for 10 days, and I was there twice. And they claimed that they called me. They didn't leave a message, and they were rude about it too. It wasn't even like, oh my gosh, we totally messed up. We're so sorry. How can we make it up to you? It was like the girl literally said, what do you want me to do about it?
No, she didn't.
Yeah, she did. And I was like, what do I want you to do? I want you to fix my freaking coat.
Fix my coat and fix your attitude, because I'm not subscribing to this.
No. And I told her, I said, you are much more expensive than any other tailor, but I come here because, and she like interrupted me almost and said, and she like finished the sentence with me, because we do good work. And I said, yes, you do, except this is not good work. So anyway, she could tell I was very upset. And I was upset because I leave for this wedding where I'm supposed to wear this coat tomorrow. So there's no like, oh, let me come back. It was a now or never situation. And they've literally had my garment for 10 plus days.
Yeah.
So anyway, they told me I was shit out of luck on my coat because it would take hours. She goes, well, this is going to take hours. And I said, right. That's why I left it with you 10 days ago. And then the dresses, they managed to get done in 45 minutes when I went and had a glass of wine.
So you did get the dress.
I did get the dresses, but like she was so gracious to give me 10% off my total purchase, totaling almost $200.
They should have comped the whole thing.
They should have comped the whole thing, and I just didn't want anything to do with them anymore. So I'm not here to talk smack about anything. Yes,
cancel businesses.
But if you're in Atlanta and you want to know where not to get tailoring done in Buckhead, slide in my DMs and I will let you know, because it wasn't even the first mess up. It was the attitude and like total disregard for the issue that they had caused and lack of apology or urgency to like try to make it right that has no place in this economy.
That's the craziest part, that they faced you with attitude and poor business, what's it called? Like business
acumen.
business acumen. That's crazy. And she just like had attitude and was
Yeah, it was my fault that they literally had not done their job, even though I'd come in there on a second occasion to. And if there was an issue with the coat, the reason they didn't do the coat was because it was going to be more expensive than what they had quoted me, and so they didn't want to start the work until they had confirmed that. But that's why I literally was in there 5 days.
Yeah, you confirmed in person.
I confirmed in person that we were all systems a go. But yeah, can't trust anyone these days.
Yeah.
And then after that, I went to get a spray tan, and I pay a monthly membership at another business. They're a big business, so maybe I don't care about it. This really isn't a dog on them. This is a dog on me. So I pay a monthly membership at Palm Beach Tan, $14 a month, which is
crazy, like good deal.
Crazy good deal, except I only get one spray tan, and it's like a base spray tan, so I have to pay, it's like $12 a visit to upgrade to like all the bronzers and stuff that I want. Because obviously I'm trying to be dark.
Right. But share with the class what a normal singular spray tan.
Oh, right. Well, that's so I didn't know, because I've never done that before, because I normally only go in there about once a month and get a spray, and then I maintain it or get like other one-off airbrush tans. This is a booth tan, mind you. This is not someone actually doing the work.
It's not even the Versa Pro.
I don't really like the Versa Pro. You know, I'm impatient and it takes too long. With like the 4 turns and the drying passes, I'm like, I don't care about being dry.
Okay, hot take. You know what doesn't take that long?
What?
The Versa Not Pro.
You're right, but it gets a little drippy.
Yeah, and it feels really sticky. Because there's not as many drying passes, I don't think. So they're like, boop, one and done. All right, get out of here.
Yeah.
So it takes a snafu, but it doesn't really like effectively dry your skin off.
Right.
Anyway, I digress.
Well, I like the Palm Beach Tan's setup in there. It's only 2 passes. There is a dryer. And quite frankly, it often gives me like a more even, natural, I put in air quotes because that's literally never what I'm going for, but like well blended tan. Like I tend to have more like noticeable spray tan problems with an airbrush tan, which is absolutely not the point. So
yeah,
I don't know what's going on.
Which is blasphemous in itself.
Right. But like I'm down to pay $30 for this airbrush tan, especially for this booth tan. Especially for the convenience of not having to make an appointment and being able to just like whip in there on the fly with my wet hair.
Yeah, and it is right across the street from your apartment.
I was going to say I could throw a tennis ball and hit it, but like I couldn't throw a tennis ball. Someone could, but not me. But yeah, it's so close, and that's amazing. So I go in there because I essentially prepay for 1 tan a month, and I am ready to use my tan. And the girl looks at me and goes, "Oh, your tan resets tomorrow."
You said,
I was like, oh my God, you can't be serious, because like I do have a few things coming up, but like I have oh my God, I have an airbrush tan scheduled in Jacksonville next week for the engagement party. So like this was when I'm using this tan, and I was like, oh my God, okay. So like we're within 24 hours. Like she's like, can you come back tomorrow morning? I said, no, girl, I have to fly out. So I said, how much is it? She totals it up. $60.
That's ridiculous.
$60 for a booth spray tan.
Booth and also booth.
Booth.
TH and F.
Booth. Except the booth isn't booth, but the cost was. I was like, what? Like, again, in what economy? And anyway, I wound up buying a package for 3 for $80. Like, someone do the math on that, because I mean, I did the math. That's why I bought the package. But like, I don't know what Palm Beach is doing with their pricing algorithm, but anyway, I dropped $98 at the end with my bronzer add-ins to get what I needed tonight. And I don't even look tan. You can see me right now. I don't even look like I got a tan.
I can attest that your face, since you've pointed it out, your face, it does look to be developing a bit more than when I first saw you. But when I walked in the door, I never would have been like, oh, you got a spray tan.
Which for most people would be a good thing. But for me, is not a good thing. I want,
It's actually quite an insult.
yeah, I need to look like I got a spray tan.
Of course.
Specifically right after I got a spray tan.
Booth spray tans just in general. I'm not slighting any one booth or one studio salon, but booth spray tans are really inconsistent in that sometimes you can be so saturated and look like a bronzed beauty. And then other times it
Just
the
literally
case
doesn't work.
that is happening here, like it's just translucent and you're like, hello?
Yeah,
Can I at least know what I'm gonna step out of the booth with?
I totally agree. You're right. It's that when the results are good, they're really good. And generally Palm Beach has been consistent, but this has happened once before. And I went back in the next morning and was like, hey, remember me, the pale girl? It's me. I got a tan last night. Does it look like I did? And the guy was like, I'm going to be honest, no.
Well, at least somebody can be honest because
Yeah. Well, and I was like, so can I go in again? He's like, oh, yeah. Mm-hmm. And just like
Oh.
put me in there for free.
well, that's really nice. He has integrity.
Yeah, I concur. He was also like literally looked like he had been dunked in a vat of like orange Cheeto
Caramel.
dust. Yeah, he was so tan and like not in a good way. But those are the people that work at tanning salons. I don't know if any of you are listening or previously worked at a tanning salon, but like I've always said, the people that work at tanning salons are like a whole other breed of people. Like they are like their own cult subset of people that like you don't find anywhere else, or you do, but like you can only kind of put your thumb on tanning salon people when you're in there.
Yes. Yeah, it's like seldom will you walk down the street and be like, oh yeah, that's a tanning salon biddy, if I've ever seen one. I mean, sometimes because there is like a visual aspect of it to where they're probably either spray tanned or sunbedded. So, maybe you can walk down the street.
Sure, but I
and
guess
see
it's
sun-
not a quality that jumps out to me, but it's like
No.
when you see them in their natural habitat in
Yes.
the tanning salon, you're like, oh yeah,
It all makes
it all
sense.
makes sense.
Totally.
So tell us about your day. Hopefully it was better, but
Well, I just want to backtrack a little bit and be like, WTF are you talking about that it started out fine? Because we literally woke up to an overflowing toilet in this apartment. So, like, I don't know really where your day is starting
my
in your
God.
head.
so
But
much
in
has
my head-
happened. I forgot about that. And you're so right. That has never happened to me before. Hence my reaction, which was screaming.
I launched out of bed this morning because I had to go to the bathroom really bad. But when I went to go to my bathroom, because I was snuggling with Kelly, of course, we were having a sleepover, I went to my bathroom so I didn't disturb the princess. And I opened the toilet to realize that it did end up being clogged, but we weren't really like sure that was the culprit, was like a clogging, because there wasn't anything gross in there. Like
No.
it was just not flushing correctly. And correct me
Which
if
is
I'm wrong, but
better than the alternative for sure.
yeah, there were no nasties, at least at the surface. But like Kelly, you said that that toilet has had recurring issues, and so you figured that it was just the normal problem. You're like, no, you just have to jiggle it. And I'm like, okay.
Yeah, well, so what typically happens with that toilet, like for starters, I do nothing around this house. Matt does everything, I do nothing. So like what do they call that? Weaponized incompetence. I am playing that card a little bit around here in terms of like doing stuff, like being self-sufficient in fixing things that break.
Being domestic.
Yeah. So the toilet, we haven't really had like big problems with it, but it sounds like it's running. Like it'll just like be loud sometimes.
Oh, it's singing.
Yeah, but it's like, I need you to stop. You're off key, So Matt had determined that like it's just an issue with the pump or something, and you just have to like, it's an easy fix once you take the little cover off. So that's what I thought was happening this morning, and I was like, oh, Matt's not here because he's at the North Pole. Literally. I'm not kidding. Look it up. It's a real place. But I'll fix it because no one else is here to do it. So I thought I was fixing it, and then I literally like held the pump open so long that just the water just continued to come out from the top, and I literally was like, no, 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 no. And then it just started spilling in every direction, and I started screaming and crying.
Yeah, no, and like no exaggeration. There was screaming and crying. Get the towels! Let me remove my microphone away from my mouth. Get the towels! Get the towels! The brown towels!
No one's gonna
At this point-
understand what you are saying.
Get the towels! Get the towels! The brown towels! The brown ratty towels! I was like, what
The
does
brown
that
towels
mean?
are Matt's.
You wench! You just didn't want your fluffy towels
we
being
don't,
red.
there's only one brown towel and it doesn't have a match. So I like
Yes.
if one towel had to go down, it should be the brown towel.
Brown ratty towel, and like that makes sense because like ick.
Yeah.
But it just so happened that the brown towel was the one that I was given to bathe last night. So thanks for that. I got the brown ratty towel for my body, but I'll take what I can get around these parts. And
It's not even a ratty towel, it's just brown.
It has a bleach stain,
Okay.
so it's ratty. And you called it ratty. You called it ratty in your
No, I
squelching.
think I was saying get the ratty towel. Get the brown towel. Like it wasn't calling the ratty towel brown. It was or brown towel ratty. It was like two separate thoughts that concluded with the same thing.
And all of this was in a high-pitched squeal, too.
Yeah.
So I was just like, and, like, of course, it was my toilet. So, like, I figured this was all my fault. And, like, meh, I was having a conniption. I was also trying to do laundry because also part of the reason why I sprung out of bed was because I had dirty clothes all over my room, a.k.a. Kelly's closet lair.
It's a bedroom, to be clear. We don't have Caitlin in a closet.
Like Harry Potter.
Yeah, I am using a bedroom as a third closet.
Yeah, therefore it's a closet. And I'm grateful for it. Don't get me wrong. I'm a lucky lizard, but my stuff has been in a mound of a mountain, just like on top of my suitcase, dirty and clean clothes alike, just like in the same volcano mountain, and it was about to erupt. So I needed to extract my dirty clothes and get them in the wash before Marcia.
Shout out to Marcia.
Shout out to Marcia. She really is so beautiful. You said you're like, she has a gorgeous face,
Yes.
and she does. Anyway,
Marcia
Marcia came.
is my housekeeper, for the record.
And she did a fabulous job. Spoiler alert, everything was cleaned up and it is spick and span in here now. But I launched out of bed to get my stuff off the floor and just to get going with the day, right? So all this happened. What was the point? I don't even know.
Just that our day started with the toilet overflowing.
Yeah, and literally all like it was one of the overflows that like spews
water
over
was
the
all over the
lid.
floor.
Water on the floor, and she's like, "There's pee water." I'm like, "There's literally no pee."
It
In
was
the
toilet water, and
It was toilet water.
I was distressed.
And she made me clean it all up.
Well, it was your bathroom.
Well, exactly. And that's why I was fretting so much. I was like, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. And what did it end up? What was the culprit? The tampon that you flushed down that toilet.
Okay, we're not talking about lady products on this
Of course
podcast.
We've gone there.
I don't want to go there. But
Right,
we're not
that's up
sure
for
about
discussion.
that because the maintenance woman.
She said there's some sort of cotton.
yeah, of course there is. That's what you put down the toilet, including toilet paper is also cotton.
Oh, yeah.
So like this apartment building was built in 2020. You're telling
Was it really?
yeah. You're telling me it can't handle a tampon if we're going to be explicit? Of course it can.
This podcast is for the girls.
I mean, sure. Yes. Yeah. No, you're right.
It's all about transparency.
you know, I hate talking about just like bodily things.
Okay, it's not like I said like toot, but like the real word.
Right. Anyway, that's how the day started, and it didn't get necessarily much better from there. But we're hoping to put a close on it and start fresh tomorrow.
No, and then asking how I'm doing.
Yeah. That was the question, and then you diverged into the toilet.
Right, and that it all comes back to I'm still like a little shaken up because it took me an hour to get home from rehearsal. this evening. It is, if we're being transparent, to 1:59 a.m. It took me from 11:14 to 12:14 to get from door to door to the rehearsal studios back to the apartment.
And it should take like, what, 14 minutes?
14 minutes. I'd be lying to say that I didn't make a few stops
A few stops.
in search for a little treat. And by that I mean, okay, there was a really weird amount of traffic for 11:30 at night.
Probably
It was
construction.
like, yeah, it was like truckers' day out. Like, it was like just trucks you see on the street. There were like lines of them. I was like, is this really like the trucker convention? Like, where are they all going? But also normal cars too. It was just weird because all the trucks were in like one row. Anyway, yes, there seemed to be a lot of construction, so there were a lot of detours happening. So after rehearsal, I usually don't get to eat a lot just because we only have like 20-minute breaks. And it's just like hard to bring dinner and stuff, as you know, Miss Kelly. So I'm always just like in the mood for a little snack or like a little ice cream or maybe like a little like icy, particularly like a frozen Powerade slushie from Sonic if I can get my hands on it, which I hadn't been able to because I didn't know there was a Sonic in
Sandy Springs.
in Sandy Springs. I'll get there, but so I'm always in the mood for a little treat. Sometimes I have to just like say no, we're going home. We have a little treat at home. But then sometimes I do indulge. So I was going to go straight home today until the detour literally led me to McDonald's. So I was like, well, I guess I have to get a McFlurry and a large fry now. So I went in quest for such, and I pull in, and it's like a line of like 15 cars in the McDonald's drive-thru. I'm like, why is everyone out? Like, everyone go home. It's Thursday night. You all have work tomorrow. Like, I don't, not till 5 p.m., but like you do. So everyone leave. And I was like, okay, whatever. I'll just sit here. I'm sure it'll move quickly. It was like one of those double drive-through lines. And I'm sitting there for like 7 minutes. And I'm like, this hasn't moved one
That's
bit.
a long time in drive-through minutes.
Yes, it really is, especially when you're not moving an inch. So I was like, okay, forget this. I'm leaving. So I drive along. And it brings me back on the highway, and then it takes me off another detour. And I'm like, what the heck? I'm just like driving through all the back roads of Atlanta.
They must have been doing construction and had exits closed or something. 'Cause
Yeah,
that's when
I
they
think
do like highway construction in Atlanta at night.
yeah, like in the middle of the night. So that makes sense. But then I'm driving like in Sandy Springs still, and what do I see but a shiny brand new Sonic? And I was like, okay, well, I didn't seek out Sonic. Sonic suck me out.
Saw it. Yeah.
Yeah, that sought me out. Oh my gosh, I promise I'm not really like that dumb. I just sound really dumb on this podcast sometimes. Anyway, so I skirt right in, no line in sight, but like I could see people scurrying about in the little Sonic like
Headquarters.
headquarters. Yeah, because you can't go in. It's just their little pod in there.
I tried to go in at one recently. I was reminded that you can't, and that the bathrooms are around the side.
Right. Yeah. Bye, girl. Get out of our face. So I pull into the drive-through because I'm like, okay, that'll be quicker. Even though like part of the fun is to go up and like press the little kiosk, but I didn't. So I go up to the drive-through and I'm like, okay, I don't really know what I want. So I was like, do I get a Blizzard or Blast, or do I get mozzarella sticks or a soft pretzel? I was actually gonna bring you back a soft pretzel and a ocean water.
Oh my god, those! I was
Yeah.
just about to say this. The pretzels are so underrated.
I've actually never had it.
Very good.
But so I was gonna get that for you, and then I was gonna get maybe some mozzarella sticks, maybe something else. They had like a Frito like chili meat cheese situation that looked really good. So I was contemplating, and then eventually I was like, okay, I'm ready. And then I realized nobody was talking to me, and I was like, hello, hello, and like again, I was sitting there for maybe like 3 minutes at this point. I'm like, nobody is answering. I can see them in there like chatting. And I'm like, hello, you have a car ready for takeout. Like, I was like, okay, fine, I'll go to the kiosk. So I drive up to the little kiosk and I press the little button and it's like, blink, blink, button has been activated. We'll be with you shortly. Nobody ever showed up. or like came on the speaker. And so I was like, okay, I guess I'll go home. And so I drove home in sadness, because I made not one but two stops for a little treat and came home with nothing. But you made it all better because you greeted me with a smile and a barbacoa taco from Chipotle.
Hey.
So my happiness is restored.
I'm so glad. Things have started to turn around from how they started this morning.
They really did.
So my fur coat still has a hole in it. And luckily for everyone, I have other coats that I will wear, but I will be upset about it still. And we should also put McDonald's and Sonic on the canceled list as well.
Yeah, I guess we have
until
to.
they redeem themselves for us.
Even though that's extremely unfortunate because they're delicious.
Yeah, we love fast food around here. If we're being honest, we have like trash beaver tendencies. That's a good way to put it. Because like I also love fancy things and fancy food. Of course. But yeah, I get down with some Taco Bell.
We're diverse.
We're diverse, exactly.
And dynamic.
Well, speaking of being dynamic, I had a thought yesterday as I was flipping through channels, or maybe a few days ago. And it was that I think I would be a really good game show host.
Okay, go on.
Well, I don't did anyone else ever watch the Game Show Network? Did that exist when you were of television watching age?
No, it was more so like Nickelodeon would create these like game shows sort of.
Yeah, those predated your being.
Yeah, but no, I never watched the Game Show Network. I don't think it existed.
Well, I do think it still exists, but it was like an added channel. Anyway, they just used to have like hours and hours of game shows, and I used to love it, and I used to watch it as a child. And my favorite one was called Whammy, which was actually a like reboot of a game that used to be on primetime called Press Your Luck. And I was reminded, or I didn't know this actually, it came on after Dancing with the Stars the other night. Press Your Luck is back on ABC.
Oh, like rebooted,
and the host is Elizabeth somebody from Pitch Perfect, the like host from Pitch Perfect.
Oh yeah.
And I don't know, it just seems like a really good job, like a fun job that I would have excelled at and really liked, because it's like game show hosts are a little like needly, you know, like they love to like push people's buttons a little bit. And I'm not saying I love to do that, but I am good at it.
You are good at it.
And I think I can hold my own with a microphone, as we're doing,
as we're seeing,
as we're doing right now,
as you're displaying right now, beautiful.
But it's not that serious, you know. And that's why I didn't pursue news to begin with. For those who didn't know, I have a degree in broadcasting, and I could have pursued TV news. I was never a sports girly, so like wasn't trying to be a sideline reporter. But and I liked hard news. I like serious stuff. I like politics, but I just really didn't have the grit for it, to be quite honest. Like really hustling, one-man camera woman band on the side of the road at crime scenes. Like, nah, I'm good. Game show host though?
Heck
yeah.
Sign me up. And you get to wear like glamorous outfits. You probably get glam every day.
Exactly.
Or like whenever you're on air. It's very glamorous and the pageantry is there.
Exactly. But you're also like helping other people. I mean, assuming that they're real-ish and like people are like winning money. That's fun. Yeah. And I love like,
for sure,
you know, being a part of that, or like rooting for people having fun and being successful. And I feel like that would be a great opportunity. So if anyone is casting for a game show host, I feel like they find some real randos for that.
I was going to say, like, how does one get into hosting these game shows? Because it's not necessarily like, I mean, you know, Steve Harvey, I guess. But what is he? Was that his like whole shtick? That he was a game show host?
I don't know. I think he was
like where did Steve Harvey come from?
Exactly. I have no idea. But like we know him for hosting Family Feud. Alex Trebek, I think, got famous hosting Jeopardy. I don't know who else, but like probably others. That bitchy lady from You Are the Weakest Link. Goodbye. I used to love her.
Who?
Has anyone? Okay, I guess you haven't seen The Weakest Link.
No.
Well, I did on Game Show Network over and over and over again. And it was this British woman, and she was like, no bullshit. She looked like Judge Judy. We'll have to find a picture of her. And she was so mean to the contestants. And Weakest Link is like a game show where everyone stands on these like platforms, and it's essentially a trivia game. and you have to answer trivia questions correctly. And then at the end of the round, the group votes for who the weakest link is.
Oh my God, that's awful.
Based on how many questions you got right or wrong. And then if you're voted as the weakest link, the floor falls out from underneath you and you are plunged into darkness. But they brought the weakest link back, and Jane Lynch was hosting it.
Oh, okay. I think I saw some promo for this.
Yeah, but so I think they hired her like kind of in her Sue Sylvester character.
Yeah,
But the old
Iconic.
like host was so like kind of unhinged, and she wasn't even funny. She was like dead serious about thinking people were just like so stupid and like loving watching them fall through the floor. But anyway, if anyone's hosting or hiring for a game show host, let your girl know. One of the things I found out from Press Your Luck, because I guess the kind of concept there is that you try to acquire money, but like it's a kind of like a roulette wheel, and you land on like tangible prizes, and then you get the amount of money that they're valued at, and they're silly prizes. So like one of the prizes was an ice sculpture, and I was really
You would love that.
well, exactly. I was really excited because I have been looking into, or rather have been wondering what an ice sculpture costs.
Of course.
For
serious inquiries have been made.
Well, they haven't been, because I was like, what does this look like, you know? But I would love an ice sculpture at my wedding. So Press Your Luck kind of gave me a ballpark of like $2,100, which I think could be worth it.
Oh, I thought it was going to be much more than that, to be honest.
Exactly.
I don't know why, considering it's just ice in a mold, but
Yeah, the trouble is I don't know what
very
I would
specific mold.
have sculpted.
picture of your beautiful face, of course.
Yeah, but like what if it doesn't come out that great in ice?
It's like a busted ice sculpture.
Yeah, literally a bust. And that then it's like we can't go back, you know. One would hope that
God,
my
that'd be so
cheekbones would be
funny.
sharp as glass because it's ice.
Ha ha ha.
But yeah. So I was really excited to see that on the game show.
Yeah, I do think that this might be your calling. I'm like really here for this, and not to make again everything about me, but like if we get a little more famous, then we can maybe they would be like, hey, you can bring your sister too, and then we could be like a sister host duo.
Perfect. I love that. Something else that happened this week or yesterday, I don't know. Spotify Wrapped. How did that look for you?
I'd rather not share, actually.
Why? What happened?
I mean, here I am. I'm barking about transparency, and I won't even share my
You just
Spotify
told
Wrapped.
the world about the toilet being clogged with my personal effects, and you won't talk about your Spotify Wrapped.
Okay, listen, and I need to just like own it and lean into it, because that's what makes it weird if I don't do that. Like if I'm just like weird and secretive about it. Okay, guys, you really want to hear? Okay, it was all Broadway. Okay, there, I said
Why
it.
is that embarrassing or surprising? You literally live in New York and are working in the theater.
Here's the thing though, the like real theater cool kids. Yes, that is a sentence I just said.
Yeah, that sounds like what's that called? Oxymoron.
Oxymoron, yeah. Oh my God, sorry. The Netflix screen is on, and I just looked up, and there was a man holding
Okay,
a gun.
don't get distracted. Spotify
I'm sorry.
Wrapped. You can't you're not getting away from this.
Okay. But the musical theater cool kids, they all listen to like real like songwriters and like real musicians. This is a whole
Theater
thing.
those are real musicians. Like I don't.
No, I
This is
agree.
too meta.
I agree wholeheartedly. I'm just saying that like it was Taylor Swift was my top artist. Taylor Swift's Karma was my top song, actually, which is really strange because that's not even like a favorite of mine. I mean, I love that song, don't get me wrong, but like it's not like I'm like smashing the repeat button on Karma.
Mm-hmm.
But that was my top song. Death by a Thousand Cuts was in there, which is funny. It was mostly Taylor Swift, and yeah, but it went Broadway, show tunes. How those are different, I couldn't tell you, but I guess I should look into that. Pop was 3, and then there were like 2 random ones under that I couldn't really identify. But yeah, it was mostly Taylor Swift's. Ariana Grande in there too, which isn't surprising because I think it was Yours Truly was the album that she like re-released this year, and I was listening to a lot of that.
And how many times have you listened to Snow in California?
A lot of times.
Which is an underrated Christmas song if you have not heard it.
1,000%. Yeah, but what about you? What was your Spotify Wrapped looking like?
My Spotify Wrapped was not particularly surprising. Taylor Swift was my number one. Lainey was my number two, which for those of you who maybe are, maybe aren't familiar with Lainey, it's like a pop indie band. I don't know how to describe it, but I've been a fan since like their early days. Like since they had like one or two EPs. Like I went to a concert of theirs in 2017.
She's a music girly.
I'm a music girly. And in
She's
2017, when I was 23 years old, I was one of the oldest people at that concert. Still today, especially today, I am one of the oldest people at their concerts, which I don't know what that says. So I guess it says it's like Gen Z music, which I feel kind of cutting edge for.
Yeah.
But
You're a tastemaker.
yeah, exactly. I've been here for a while. They're number two. Kelsey Ballerini was number three. I have listened to her EP a lot. And one night I just had her song Homecoming Queen. Dear Homecoming Queen, why do you cry? On like repeat. I don't know what I was feeling that night, but like it wasn't even that I intended to put it on repeat. It just like, it was like I looked up the song. You ever do that where like you look up the song, you hit play, and like it only plays that song and you don't realize that it has played the song like 46 times.
Yeah.
So I think that skewed it towards her. But she also had that recent EP, I forget, Rolling Up the Welcome Mat. That's really good, about her divorce with, I was about to say Morgan Wallen, but it's not. That's not him. I think it's Morgan something, and that kind of sums it all up. It's some other country artist who she's more famous than.
Right.
Number 4 was Lizzo, and that was mostly because of Pink from Barbie.
Of course.
That was my wake up song for like 2 months. Like I literally would wake up and pretend I was Barbie, like doing the wake up scene to like make me excited about getting out of bed.
Make you feel something.
Yeah. And then number 5 is Sabrina Carpenter, who
we
love Sabrina Carpenter. But what was most interesting to me, well, 2 things. Actually 3 things. One is my top song was some song by Renee Rapp. All Too Well.
All Too Well, I think.
No, that's Taylor.
No, but I think it is Too Well.
Too Well. Yeah, it's like it was like only one word.
I can't help. I sound just
exactly
like her too.
It's a good song, but that's another one that I think might have just like accidentally wound up on repeat because like that was 1000% not intended or shouldn't really be my top song.
Right. That's why personally I just like, I don't trust Spotify Wrapped. I think it's fun and interesting and silly, but like it's not, I think, truly indicative of your, I don't want to say music taste because like whatever. I don't really identify with a music taste. I listen to all sorts of silly things, but like I don't think it is a telltale sign of like what your top songs were actually like in your own head.
Yeah.
And your heart.
It's not, I don't think it's indicative of your, or like it's not 100% your preferences, but I mean I do think it's accurate.
Yeah, I mean it's just pulling data.
Right. Well, some things that are questionable, however, were that one song, and then 2, this was a new feature on Spotify Wrapped this year, I think, which was like, what town do you most identify listening to? Like,
mine was New York, New York.
Essentially, what city are other people listening to music like you? Mm-hmm. Yeah, Caitlin's was New York, New York. I was about to say boyfriend, John. He's my, I would say, best friend, not my technical boyfriend, but, you know, our love lives on. Anyway, his was New York, New York, and like everyone else I knew had like weird ass random, generally southern cities, I think skewing with like country music. Mine was Provo, Utah, which is where Brigham Young University is. So
home of the lovely Mormons.
Yeah, shout out to the Mormons or Latter-day Saints. But I think it's got to be the Lainey Kelsey Ballerini crossover because like Lainey is very Southern California, which is like pretty much Utah light, or Utah is Southern California light, and Kelsey Ballerini is like kind of like blonde and wholesome. So I think maybe they identify with her. Plus the Taylor Swift angle. So I don't know. I was really kind of caught off guard about that one, but that's what I got.
Yeah, that's really funny.
Yeah.
That's all I have to say about
Ha
that.
ha ha.
Hee
The
hee.
other thing that was also funny was everyone, I think it showed everyone like their top podcast. And it also showed me my top podcast. And it was like, congratulations. You spent a total of 88 minutes listening to podcasts this year. And my top podcast
Wow.
was
A dedicated podcaster herself.
right. My top podcaster was The Toast, which
Okay.
I listened to
Same.
for 88 minutes, which is less than 2 episodes. I literally listened to 1.5 episodes, and that was my entire foray into podcasts. So if that tells you anything.
Well, don't worry, sister. I'm doing the Lord's work.
Oh, I don't listen to this one either. I listen to it
No.
before it gets posted, and then that's it.
Yeah, you're not contributing to our stats.
Right. That'll be interesting if Savage Says is on our Wrapped for next year.
Yeah.
It probably won't be,
no.
but maybe it'll be on someone's.
I also don't listen to contribute to our stats.
Oh, well.
So
Thanks for being with us if you're listening
thanks,
on
kitties.
Spotify.
We love you.
Hope we land on your Spotify Wrap next year.
Speaking of, I think you mentioned earlier that there's a podcast that you would be interested in maybe diving into.
Yeah, you're right. I did mention that. And I have mixed feelings because I looked up the lineup of episodes for Sex Lies and Spray Tans, the Cheryl Burke Dancing with the Stars podcast.
Yes.
And she has some good guests. And she,
Tom, what's his name being one of them?
who's Tom?
The former host.
Oh, Tom Bergeron.
Yeah.
Also like Max Shimrefkowski,
Shmerkovsky.
who like she has a public or had a public feud with.
Wait, really?
Yeah, because he called her fat. Yeah. Yeah,
Where have I been?
I don't know,
I'm
but
a fake
I
fan.
think that was recently in the news because she's stirring up drama on this podcast.
Oh my god, wait, and he was a guest?
Yeah, exactly. So like it's all kind of
Gimmicky and like
I don't
has an
know,
angle.
but I don't think any of it's accidental. Like I don't think she's
Yeah.
like shaming him for being a fat shamer, and they're not cool. Clearly that was like cooked up for them to talk about on the podcast,
Okay.
you know.
Okay.
But I love Dancing with the Stars, and obviously she has great insight. She was on there for what, 22 seasons or something.
Yeah, she was the girl. She was, or like, I don't know. I just remember Cheryl being like the face of Dancing with the Stars in my tiny head when we started watching it years and years ago.
Yeah, I think her first season was season 2. And I
Okay.
mean, she only just retired at season 32. I think
Yeah,
she took
so-
some seasons off, perhaps, because
Yeah.
I don't think they said she was on for 30 seasons. But I can't imagine anyone who's on there longer.
Right.
And she lived through many eras. So I would be interested into what she has to say. I'm a little conflicted, with the whole Len tribute. For those who don't know,
Mhm.
Len Goodman was one of the original judges of Dancing with the Stars. And he retired from being a judge last year and then passed away only like 4 months later. So really sad, but they did a tribute dance to him this season.
It's beautiful.
It was so beautiful. It was a waltz to Moon River. And I think 8 of the ex-pros, like pros that have retired, were invited back to participate with the current pros. And she was not one of them,
Mhm.
despite her tenure. And I think there was some saltiness around that. And I don't blame her, but like we don't know what's gone on behind the scenes. And I think kind of like bitching about it publicly, and she released like a tribute video to Len like the day of the performance. You're trying to shift the attention to you, and the point is honoring someone who's passed away.
Yeah.
And I think that's a little tacky.
Yeah, definitely. The whole thing just gave tension.
Yeah, with her
is the best way
specifically.
to, I feel like, describe it. It was just like, oh, this is really uncomfortable, and you're clearly trying to villainize. I guess it's not ABC anymore, but
It is.
Dancing with the
No,
Stars.
it's back on ABC.
Yeah, and trying to project this as like a positive thing, like, oh, I wish all of my former not co-stars colleagues well, and I can't wait to watch them shine, and yada yada yada. But at the end of the day, it was just kind of a way to be like, I wasn't invited, but here's my tribute to Len
Right.
before any of it could go live on air. So
Right. And then the discussion became, why wasn't Cheryl invited? Cheryl should be a part of this. And it's like, it's not
Right.
about Cheryl, it's about Len. And I guess what I don't appreciate, and it's in this situation, which is why I'm conflicted about listening and boosting her engagement, but
Yeah.
also really other things that I could list many examples of, is you can't shit on something and then try to write its coattails.
Yeah. Oh, wow. What a good point.
You're either with it and like you're supportive of the show, you're supportive of what's happening, and that's it, or you can be publicly miffed or tell your experiences that are less than positive, but you can't be expected to be invited back by those producers for a special that they're producing when you're actively causing problems for them.
Right. Definitely. Because wasn't her like whole exit, like it wasn't seamless.
I don't know, and I'll leave it at that. I don't know, and I don't think it helps to speculate, but like
Yeah.
that's just kind of the vibes I'm getting from the situation. And I'm not saying that you cannot be constructively critical of organizations that you care about.
Yeah. Of course.
And one of those, another example that sticks out to me is Miss America and all the evolution that that's taken in the last several years. There's been a lot of changes. There's been a lot of leadership turnover. There's been decisions people support. There's been decisions people don't support. But, you know, there's people who show up to Miss Florida and complain about it and are negative and don't support the event, or like are just kind of a negative Nancy, but yet you're there. Like, why
Yeah.
come if you're going to be if you're going to
Just be there to judge.
be there to judge, be there to be negative, be there to bring it down? Like, what
Right.
literally what is the point?
Right. You're wasting your time
Yeah.
and everyone
And
else's.
it's just bad energy.
Yeah.
And that's kind of how I feel about this.
Yeah.
But
No, that's
I
a
don't
really
know the
good
behind the scenes, you know,
parallel.
and that's kind of why I'm intrigued and perhaps will listen, because I want to know more of the behind the scenes from her perspective.
For sure. And like going in with that attitude and kind of like opinion and knowledge, just being like, okay, this is what taken away from the situation, and like I'm going to assess it from that perspective and just hear what she has to say rather than taking it as fact.
Right. There's three sides to every story, and you know, my mindset regarding institutions like Dancing with the Stars or Miss America, or, you know, universities as another example, sororities I think is a good one,
Yeah.
is you can't, what's the word, if you love something, you do your best to make it successful and keep it successful.
Yeah.
Or if you say you love something or you care about something, you know, you don't tear it down
Right.
from the outside in, or the inside out for that matter. So that's easier said than done in most
Yeah.
cases. You know, I think about a friend of mine who went through Rush at Ole Miss and did not get the sorority that she wanted. In fact, she got a sorority that would not have been one that she would have chosen, that most people in her situation dropped from. And her attitude about the whole thing, which is very, very wise, and I think beyond your years for someone who's 18 years old, was this organization will never improve if people like me won't stick it out and try to make it better.
Right.
And she stayed with that sorority through her senior year. She held leadership positions. She did everything she could to try to make it better rather than say, this sucks and I'm out.
Right.
And like I said, easier said than done, but like I really respect people who see things with flaws, because literally everything, everyone, every organization has flaws, and if they care and or decide that they care, they do what they can to make it better rather than bitch about it from the outside and say this sucks.
Absolutely.
And that's how I'm feeling about a few ex-pros from Dancing with the Stars right now.
Yes, and all that to say, Dancing with the Stars is crazy. No. But back to that, like, yeah, if you don't like something, then do your best. Do the best that you can do to change it for the better.
Right.
That's pretty much exactly what you just said.
And
I'm with you.
saying that like Cheryl Burke should be trying to like revolutionize Dancing with the Stars. That's not her role in all this.
Sure.
But I guess if you're going to have a podcast and ride the coattails of a popular program that you benefited from,
Right.
Don't expect that they're not going to expect you to be positive
Yeah.
about
They're
that.
going to extend their hand to you and welcome you back with open arms when you're hosting a platform to just like all over them.
Yeah, and I haven't listened, so I don't necessarily know that she is, but I think
Right.
there's some, probably less than desirable things being shared.
Yeah.
But I'm eager to hear them. It's probably what makes good podcast material.
Totally. Are you guys eager to hear all about us and how our days went? Because that's what you just heard for the past 45 minutes.
Lucky you.
Well, I had a query for the group, if you don't mind me asking before we wrap
Sure.
up. So I've been struggling with some like chronic like chapped lips. And I kind of have forever. I've never had like supple, smooth lips. But recently I've actually taken steps to try to fix it. I've hopped on like the lippy train, if you will. I like really love my lip balms and my lip products, my lipsticks, lip oils of all sorts, even lip masks. And I feel like I'm just kind of using a lot of overpriced garbage because nothing's working. Like, I will put on my little lip products, and then 5 minutes later, maybe my lips are sticky, but like they're not supple and smooth. Like, they're cracking again.
So are you asking me for product advisement?
I'm asking you, I'm asking the group. If anyone identifies as like a lip care connoisseur, please help me out.
Yeah.
Really, I think I probably could just, get back to the basics of like some Vaseline or Aquaphor. That's probably what everyone
Are you drinking
maybe
enough water?
is going to say. Like, probably not, but.
Right. Well, one thing that is probably not going to help is the prescription diuretic that I just talked you into getting.
Yeah. Spironolactone.
Yeah, for those who don't know, spironolactone saves lives, or at least it has saved mine. This is not like an ad for spironolactone. Please talk to your doctor.
Yeah, not well, you're kind of a health professional.
I am a healthcare professional, but not one who's licensed to discuss pharmaceuticals.
Of course.
However, for me, I have just like chronic acne, for lack of a better description. In random places, like, and it has generally been like hormonal acne spots, like my neck, my chin, my shoulders in middle school were like crazy. And birth control helps for me, but my gynecologist also recommended trying spironolactone, that it would be a more consistent help. And it takes several months to kick in, but it really did help, and it functions in such a way by dehydrating whatever gland like absorbs testosterone. I don't know, you'll have to look up the science, but what they told me when I got it was that it is a diuretic, and therefore you have to drink extra water or else you will be like very dehydrated. And I do sometimes get foot cramps that I think are related to the dehydration aspect. And I recently,
that's what mommy gets too.
Yeah, I recently talked Caitlin into trying it for her skin, because I really think it can benefit anyone who has some recurring blemishes that they might want to address. But if you're already experiencing chapped lips, we really got to keep an eye on that. You got to drink like literally 100 gallons of water.
Yeah, and I didn't really like, I've never been like, oh my god, my lips are so chapped, it's disgusting. And it's not like they're like flaking off. I've always felt like I just kind of have like dry like some people just have more hydrated lips than others. But I never liked chapstick. I was always like, I didn't like the feel of it. I didn't like it. But now I've gotten more into it, specifically since I got the Summer Fridays Lip Butter Balm that tastes so good, and it really does feel good. I do feel like it makes a difference on my lips when I put it on immediately, but I don't feel like it's chronically helping my situation. Like, I don't feel like my lips are like significantly more hydrated because I'm using that. I've also invested in the Laneige lip mask. Also, I like the way that feels on my lips, but I don't feel like I'm really waking up and like feel a difference, or over time have seen or felt a difference. And I'm just like a little bit curious as to what I might be able to find elsewhere, and would love to know the people's recommendations, even if it is, yeah, girl, drink more water, IDK.
Well, kitties, this is a kitty call to action.
Sound off. I just want my lips to look beautiful. I've really solidified my like lip trio, if you will.
Which is what?
I love a Pillow Talk medium. Pillow Talk medium, Charlotte Tilbury liner. The Wedding Bells
Love that.
lipstick. Yeah, that's a hidden gem, I feel like. Underrated.
Yeah, except
shade.
now we're going to sell it out.
Yeah. Yeah, us too. Right now, I'm using the Fenty Glass Bomb, I think it's called. I forget what shade, but it's like the nudie pink. But I think my favorite lip gloss with that duo is the Bobbi Brown New Romantics lip gloss. It's just so good. Mom got me one, like a little stocking stuffer one year, and I've lost them all now. But like they came with like little mini lip glosses, and I think I got you it for Christmas
I was
last
about to
year.
say, this sounds familiar. I think you got it for me, but I too have lost it. And I did
so-
like it for like the 1 week that I had it in my possession.
Wow, so glad that you were holding on to it with
Such care. You know what I don't
Care.
recommend for dry lips is the Chanel lip stain gloss duo.
Oh,
Yeah, I paid like $46 for this little girly on a cruise ship.
no
Duty
way.
free. Yeah, because I had tried it before. My friend Grace had this duo called Tender Beige, and I love the
Okay.
name. And I've been looking high and low for Tender Beige because it really is like the perfect pink nude, but it has a little punch to it. For me, Pillow Talk like makes me look washed out.
Yeah.
So I like what Tender Beige does color wise, but it's a very popular color, so it was impossible to find anywhere. And that's why like they had a Chanel pop up on this cruise ship I was on in the fall,
Flux.
and popped in there. And what do you know? I got the last Tender Beige. It has a like glassy lip gloss other side to it that you put on like the lip stain one side and then the gloss the second.
Mm.
And I do not have particularly dry lips, and yet I feel like that really dries me out. So for
Interesting.
for
Okay,
dry
well,
lip girlies,
yeah, I will not be trying that
yeah,
out.
no Chanel for you.
Yeah, it's above my price range, I think, unfortunately. Well, I say that, but I really am considering getting my own, what is it? The Dior lip oil that everyone is ranting
Oh,
and raving over, except,
take.
yeah, I know you're right.
I don't like Dior lip oil. I have one. So you've never had it before or tried it?
Well, I took yours. That
Yeah. So I got a Dior lip oil for myself because treat yourself. And I liked it for a while. It feels silky smooth. It also is like $40 or something crazy for a lip gloss. But then once it got to like a halfway point, that shit has gotten all over literally every surface in my house, in my purse, in my car. It will not stop oozing. And that is literally unacceptable. It's so messy. Like my Tory Burch wallet is stained with like a pink Dior lip oil stain.
it's kind of ritzy.
Yeah, it is, but like it's not what I want.
Not ideal. Yeah.
So I'm over it. I gave it to Caitlin. Although is it not staining your stuff?
Well, it's pretty much empty.
Mm.
So I've just been kind of like scraping the edges.
Well, I transitioned to the Elf lip oil or
Yeah.
whatever it's called. It has a different name, and I like
Yeah,
it
what do you
better.
think? Really?
Like the consistency is a little stickier.
I was gonna say I got one too, but I hadn't tried the Dior one yet. And my takeaway, without comparison, was that it was just kind of sticky, like a sticky lip gloss.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, the price comparison, like whatever it is, $40 for the Dior
Yeah.
to $8 for the Elf. Just
Yeah.
like because I have such a hard time keeping track of lip gloss, it feels like a no brainer. And because I'm pissed about how sticky the Dior got. But what's crazy is I didn't misplace it. It to this day we know where that lip oil is. It's like the only lip gloss I haven't misplaced. But yeah, I don't. I wish I liked it better.
Yeah.
I would pay for it if I really liked it, but
Right.
I don't.
Right. And I feel like I don't have a fair judgment of it because I haven't used it freshly. I've just used the edges of your sticky,
Well,
overflowing
I'm
one.
here to tell you it's the same. It's the same product in there.
Okay.
It just
Well,
it didn't used to be so messy in terms of like coming out.
yeah, I do like the consistency of the Dior one, at least from what I've tried, better than the Elf, but not for that price.
Right.
Definitely. And I just feel like in general, like these companies are saying lip oil, but like where's the oil? Because it just feels like lip sticky.
Right. I mean, I think there probably is oil that they're like making
Infusing.
it with,
Yeah.
but no, I think it's absolutely a ripoff of like Dior's lip oil being so popular. And I think
Yeah,
the
for
lip
sure.
oil got popular because it's a luxe item that like nobody needs.
Right.
And it feels like a luxe little gift. And I absolutely bought it as a gift for like one or two people because it's like this is something you might not buy yourself, but feels like really nice to receive. And
Yeah.
I stand by that. And I like I said, would buy it again and would buy it for others if it didn't get so messy there at the end.
Yeah. Yeah. Just use a regular lip gloss.
Yeah. Except not Chanel if you have dry lips.
Yeah.
But kitties, let us know if you have any recommendations on
Yeah, let us know.
lip tips for Caitlin. And with that, it's approaching 3 a.m. So time to go to sleep,
It's
I think.
time to say goodnight. Maybe we'll do a holiday spectacular next
Oh,
week.
shoot.
It's coming.
It's coming.
But it's not even December. When we're recording this, it's not even December yet. We have so much time ahead.
Yeah, you're right. It feels like
For
it.
celebration.
I think we kind of started. I think Thanksgiving was like a week early this year.
I think so too. I was really surprised when it came up so quickly, and I was like, "Oh my gosh,
No.
it's Thanksgiving already." I feel like it should be in another week or so.
It is like next week, next year.
Wow.
I think
okay.
it was the 23rd this year, and it's like the 28th next year. So
Okay,
we're
that
not
sounds
making this
more
up.
correct.
Yeah.
Okay.
But with that, yes, stay tuned for the holiday spectacular.
Time to say goodnight.
Prayers for me that I don't freeze in Albany, New York without my mink.
Without a mink coat. Yeah.
No thanks to insert Taylor's here. Follow up if you want more intel on that. But we appreciate you, kitties. You never let us down.
Never.
And we'll see you soon.
Yeah. Follow us on Instagram at Savage Says Pod. We love you.
Bye.